Hello, friends and enemies, heroes and villains. Welcome to Epic Realms Presents Cocktail Making, huh? Now, this little presentation and the series that is hopefully to come afterwards was brought about because of my amazing Twitch community. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/epic_realms. So, the amazing community, they'd be seeing me playing a game or role playing or whatever, and I would have a cocktail in my hand. And they go, hey, what's the recipe? And I would say, hey, this is the recipe. And I thought, some recipes can't just be written down. Like they can be, but I have to write out instructions. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to make videos of that? Now, there's a million videos on the internet of how to make XYZ cocktails. For me, I'm not a bartender. I'm not a professional. I'm not classically trained in the bar. So what I wanted to do is still spread my knowledge, because I have worked in restaurants. My mother was a chef. I've worked in that space. I know bartenders. I'm friends with bartenders. I have knowledge. I've learned things over the years. I have a really good palate for being able to taste and discern what is what. So that being said, I wanted to give my knowledge to you in a way that seems, like I'm doing it from my kitchen, which I am. So, let's get this underway. We're going to try and cut it over to under 30 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. All right. So first and foremost, something that's expiring to my side. It's not necessarily a bar tool, because we're going to start with Bartools. These are all Bartools is what we're going to start with, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to work with down the road. So, what kind of Bartools do we have? Do we need? Something expiring next to me, not necessarily a tool, but definitely needed. Let me explain a little bit about ice. Ice is super useful. You have crushed ice, you have shaved ice, you have cracked ice, you have cubed ice, you have large ice. They all do different things, have different reasons for being there. I'll get into them later. You have your regular ice cube tray, and then you have cool little trays like this, or like this. These are little round circular ice cubes, so this comes apart. So you fill it in with water in here, and then you put this on top, and then you just top them off. These seal pretty solidly, and you get cool little ice cubes like this little super round spherical ice cube right there. These pieces can just come off. And then it's really cool these are the ones, my wife loves these ones. Those are her favorite. So you have those kind of ice cubes, and you have, as I said, these square ones. So let me pull this square one out. This has already been out once. And if you look here, I have an idea. You can see that. Ice melt is a thing. I will talk a little bit about it later. But ice melt, when it's clear, the clearer the ice cube is, the less fast it will melt. It won't melt as fast if it's clear like that. When it's like this, it's going to melt a lot faster, just because of the aeration. There's air in that little area, air bubbles and air pockets. So the clearer the ice is, the better. That's all I'll say on that. So, what do we have about need ice for? We need ice to shake. Shakers. This is a Boston shaker. There's lots of different shakers on the market. They're all over out there. I like the Boston shaker just because you can get a really good seal and you don't have to worry about leaks. It's really easy to clean because it's really just 2 cups, essentially. One is bigger than the other. They nest into each other. It's really awesome. You put them in here, a little bit of an angle. You'll see it's a little bit tilted this way. Smack it like that. That'll seal it in there because it's really flexible metal. It's when you shake it, it'll hold a little bit more. Generally, you'll see people put 2 fingers on there, grab it with their other fingers, hold on to the bottom, and forward and back, forward and back. Sometimes you'll see bartenders, they'll do 2 of them, and they'll be like, that's a little bit more difficult. The idea is you want the ice to go from one side to the other side, from the other side and back. That's what you're doing. You're making the ice go like this inside there. It does 2 things. 1, it makes the drink colder. 2, it aerates the drink, possibly gives you foam if you want to get it for like a whiskey sour and you want that layer of foam on top. It does those 2 things, and it also will add water to your drink, because water changes the flavor profile just like the temperature changes the flavor profile of a cocktail. So you have these. There are also other ones. I've got this other one as my backup. It's got a little pre-made filter in there that comes through. You can see it goes through in the end there. Here's another little angle for it. And you can just shake it the same way. And this one's a little bit easier. You can one-hand these because it screws on and comes off. I still like the other one better. This is my backup if I have parties, if I'm making multiple drinks. You see a chalkboard back there has a couple of different drinks, so I was able to, you know, when I make them, I have done parties where I was the bartender. So that being said, those are the shakers. You definitely want to have those. Now, keep in mind, when you have a shaker, you need to be able to strain out what you've shaked up. There's a couple different strainers. 3 types, in fact. There's the Hawthorne strainer, probably the one you always see, the Mickey Mouse Hawthorne strainer. It goes right over the top like that, and then you're just pouring, so it just filters out all of the ice. Again, ice, key component. When you use the shaker and you're straining to keep out the ice, but sometimes you strain it out into a glass that has ice in it. Why is that? Well, perhaps you use crush ice in the shaker, but you're using one of those fancy cubes that I just showed you. And so you don't want the ice melt, but you want to maintain the temperature. Boom, keep the ice that's going to melt super fast out of here and pour it in. So that is kind of the purpose of that. There's also a Julian strainer, which I don't have. I think I said that right. Those strainers I don't have, I don't use. They're for like leaves and, you know, other kinds of stuff. Look it up, Google it. You have the internet, you know. This isn't a professional thing. I don't have a script or anything. Here's the other strainer. This is a mesh strainer, just a basic little mesh strainer. You want to throw it on your glass like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your Hawthorne strainer on your thing and you're going to pour from one strainer through the other. You're going to get the ice out of one and you're going to get the fine particulates out of the other. That is the purpose. So if you've got, like, say you've muddled some blueberries in your shaker and you want to get all the seeds and all that kind of stuff out of there that you muddled, then that takes care of that. So that's it for the strainers. Muddling, guys, muddling. Let's talk about muddling. Here's a muddler. Get your mind out of the gutter, all right? This is not what you think it is. It's a muddler. This is meant for if you take lemons, limes, blueberries, strawberries, whatever, and you want to either really grind, depending on what it is. You might want to grind it. You might want to just tamp it. You might want to just crush it. There are different things that you want to do. So depending on what you have, depends on how you're going to use the muddler. So if we do a show where we talk about muddling more, or we have a drink where there's muddling, we will talk about that in depth. Now, just to let you know, if you're using a muddler on mint for a mojito, stop doing it. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. That'll ruin it. I may not be a bartender, but that's a pro tip from a pro that told me, don't use a muddler on your mint. I use a spoon. I fold it over. Fold and bend, fold and bend, fold and... You know, we're talking about the spoon folding and bending. This has a lot of uses. A lot of uses. So we were talking about shaken. Shaken, not stirred. Well, let's stir, shall we? There are multiple ways of stirring. You can do the old chocolate milk stir. The old chocolate milk stir where you're spinning around. But you can also do this where you slowly bring it up, right? So, I'll do it this way so you can see. Bring it up. So if you're having ice that's floating in there and you want to stir it, but you can't because you're like, there's ice in the way, you just bring it up and it stirs it and it creates this flow underneath, which stirs it all up. Another thing that happens when you use the spoon that you might need to learn is layered drinks. This is a shot glass. You might have seen shot glasses that are like red, white, and blue, or various shades of colors or different colors. They use the spoon by putting it over the top like this and pouring the drink slowly over the top of the spoon so that they don't mix. That's how you get the layered drinks. This spoon is super handy. I use the spoon all the time. So get yourself a proper bar spoon. Proper bar spoon. You don't need all of these tools. Really, let's be honest. Do you need all of these? No, you could probably go without them. Are they going to be super freaking helpful? Yes. Yes, they are. So make sure to get quality stuff too. If you can. If you can't, no big deal. I mean, the Hawthorne strainer, they're all the same. But stuff might start falling apart on you, and you don't want that. We were talking about straining things out and muddling things, like lemons, like limes, like wedges, like stuff like that. Well, these little things are freaking amazing to drinks and are super useful. And there are a million ways that you're going to use a lemon or a lime or an orange or a grapefruit. And one of them is to get the juice out. Fresh juice is way better than the bottled stuff, though if you don't have time, the bottled stuff is just fine. But you're going to get a much more amazing drink with fresh juice. This is a juicer. All right? It goes in here. This squeezes it out. The juice comes out there, right? So it's a really fancy, nice little thing. I've done pre-juice. Like if I know I'm having an event, I'll grab like 5 limes and I'll like, juice, done. So definitely get yourself a juicer because it's just freaking key, all right? Since we're talking about lemons, we're talking about limes, there's a whole bunch of things known as spirals or wedges or other kinds of garnishes. You definitely need to realize that there are many ways to cut a lemon, a lime, orange, grapefruit. And the reason you're having these garnishes, because people are always like, I don't want that garnish. Here's the thing. The garnish is important, and I'm going to tell you why. Have you ever plugged your nose and drank in cough syrup and got... Yes, of course, we all have. But have you ever drank it and not plugged your nose? It's way worse. The reason you plug your nose when you take cough syrup is because it lessens the flavor. It dulls it. And that's totally works in reverse. If you smell something, it enhances the flavor. So if there's a lime wedge on the edge of your Coca-Cola, that lime is going to enhance your flavor because you smell the lime as the Coke is being drank. Same with these. If you have a spiral of lemon on your mojito or your daiquiri or your whatever, it's going to enhance the flavor when you drink it because you're going to smell it before you taste it, and then it's just going to enhance it. So there are also oils in the rind. Those oils are intense with flavor, very unique flavor that you're not going to get anywhere else. Those oils go into the drink and change the flavor profile of the drink. Even a minuscule amount can be more refreshing of a drink. So let's talk about these. A spiral or a zest. So here is a channel cutter. This is also a zester. If you want to zest it, you just drag it along like this. You've got a channel cutter, which when you do it, you're going to go like this, and it's going to make this super thin line. And you can make a short one, or you can make a big long spiral to make it all nice and fancy. You can put it in the drink separate. I actually will use this 50% of the times for my old fashions. Sometimes I prefer to have a spiral in my old fashioned than a peel. Now, you want to have a peel, you get a peeler. You guys have seen these. This is a sideways peeler, and these are probably the best for getting peels as far as the peelers go. So you just go down and you just get a peel, right? It's like peeling anything else. It's just like peeling a potato. Here's the potato peeler. You can use it on carrots, potatoes, and you can do the same thing. You're going to get a thinner, probably a little bit thinner of a peel with that. I don't know why. It's the same freaking tool. It's just sideways to front ways, horizontal, vertical, whatever. If you really feel comfortable, the paring knife, guys, this is going to get you your best peels because you can avoid the pith as much as you want. The pith is the white part behind so you have the peel, the pith is that white part, and then you have your fruit that's inside, your orange or your lemon or your lime. So that white stuff under an orange, that is the pith. That's why people don't like to eat the peel, because it's got that pith on there. It's kind of gross. Sometimes you might want to have a little pith on there, but a lot of times you don't. The knife, I can get a way better peel, and I can get the depth that I want, depending on how much depth I want, with a paring knife than with anything else. So if you want to get peels, You can do spirals and other stuff with this too if you're super fancy, but highly suggest getting a paring knife. You probably want to get a cutting board if you don't want to ruin your countertops and tables and stuff. This is also going to be used for dicing cucumbers or any other fruit or vegetable that you want to cut up or slice. Get the paring knife for the bar. You can get the proper knife for certain vegetables. If you're getting a watermelon, you probably don't want to try and chop open a watermelon or a pineapple with one of these guys, but you get my point. Toothpicks, we're talking about pineapple, other things, olives. You definitely want to get some toothpicks. They come in varying shapes and sizes. Lengths, I like the longer ones for drinks because then you can lay it across the top or put it in taller glasses, stuff like that. Like if you put a regular toothpick in a glass like this, it's going to get lost, guys. It's going to get lost. So get yourself some longer toothpicks. All right. Let's talk about measurements, shall we? Because we're talking about all the drinks. We're talking about all the stuff. Before we get to that, I mentioned zesting, right? You want to zest? Get a microplane. This is going to be amazing for your kitchen, for your drink making. If you're making a Bloody Mary and you need some fresh ginger, you want to use a microplane. If you want to use fresh horseradish, for crying out loud, get a microplane. If you want Parmesan cheese for whatever you're cooking, get a microplane. If you want lemon zest for whatever you're cooking, get a microplane. If you want it for your drinks, get a microplane. Well, basically what I'm saying is get a microplane. These are so versatile and so amazing. You will never want to use a cheese grater again for stuff that's not supposed to be for a cheese grater. All right, now let's get to measurements. You've seen these before, right? These are called jiggers. They come in all varying shapes and sizes, right? A jigger is used to measure how much liquid you want. They come in ounces, they come in milliliters. If you're a stupid American like I am, I use ounces. I want to tell you guys, ounces, when it comes to cocktail making, is not the same as ounces when you're baking. There's ounces and then there's fluid ounces. When we're talking about cocktail making, we are always talking about fluid ounces. So, a fluid ounce, you'll see this one has cool little markings on there. You'll see a fluid ounce. It doesn't say FL ounce, so just don't get it confused. It says OZ. It's supposed to be FLOZ, but whatever. 1 fluid ounce is equal to 30 milliliters. Now that's give or take. That's just a rough average. It's not exactly accurate, but it's enough for trying to figure stuff out for a conversion ratio. It's also 2 tablespoons. So you can see right there, 1 ounce, 30 milliliters, 2 tablespoons. Half an ounce, 1 tablespoon, 15 milliliters. So that's kind of your ratio, guys. A lemon is generally 1 ounce, a lime is generally 2 ounces. Give or take. They're not, not all limes and lemons are created equally. You might get a lime that's 1.5 ounces. But if you're planning, if you're at the store and you're making drinks and you want to plan how many to get, a lime for 1 ounce, a lemon for 2 ounces roughly is for planning what you want to do. So that, my friends, is your jiggers. I want to talk about one more thing. Actually, I'm going to talk about 2 more things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is a bar mat. Roop, roop, roop. Get yourselves a bar mat. They have these neat little things in here to catch all of your alcohol spillings, and then you don't get sticky crap all over your table everywhere. You don't want sticky crap all over your table. Trust me. It gets horrible because then you're like scrubbing, and it's... Just get one of these and then you can just throw them in the dishwasher. This is a rail mat. It goes on the rail of a bar. The rail is the short little glass width area on the bartender's side of the bar. That's why they're called rail mats, because they go on the rail, they protect the rail. And they have bigger mats too. I should get a bigger mat at some point when I rebuild my bar and get this out of the kitchen and back where our bar is supposed to go. You're not going to remember all your recipes. You're going to learn recipes. You're going to want to have them all. You can have a Google Docs, you can have a website, you can have a page, you can have a Pinterest, you can have whatever you want. I still like the old school note cards, and I went on Amazon and I got like 10 of these nifty little photo albums. I got like 10 of them for like $5, something like that. And it's cool because you just open it up. Here's my daiquiri recipe. Actually, here's 3 of my daiquiri recipes. And it's just super neat. Mojito, Sex on the Beach, Margarita, Long Island iced tea, Amaretto, sour, whiskey sour, bourbon sour, all of that kind of stuff. It's a great little add-on. Obviously, like I said, you don't need any of this stuff, but you should get a lot of this stuff. A decanter, get yourself a decanter. They're super fancy. They're really cool if you like to have long-term just sitting alcohol just for drinking straight. If you want to infuse stuff, this is a vodka infused, a Fatali pepper infused vodka. It's a cucumber vodka infused with Fatali peppers. It's amazing. I've talked about it on my stream on Twitch. I am drinking it right now. It's a little spicy. I overdid it a little bit on this batch, but still tasty and delicious nonetheless. So, guys, that is kind of a quick run through. I didn't talk about these bad boys. These are pourers. They go inside your bottles. Not all bottles are made equally. Some of them are bulbous and are super hard to pour. Sometimes they'll be half empty and you'll pour and it'll come flying out. Sometimes you'll pour it, it'll trickle up. These will give you a very good amount, equal amount, no matter what shape or size your bottle is. It's designed to let air in and let water out, or alcohol out, or whatever. There's water in here, so it just kind of works like that. Very simple. It's almost empty, so that's why it was like. Anyhow, that is that, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out for this video. I've done this video like 6 times, and there's always been some sort of weird snafu. So hopefully this one turns out for all of you. Click all the buttons, the likes, the subscribes, the follows, whatever platform we're on. Click all of those buttons. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with this. Make sure to catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/epic_realms. You can also listen to my podcast. Hey, guys, I have a podcast. What do? I interview famous people, authors, board game designers, freaking personalities, narrators, you name it, I interview them. So join us for that. You can find it anywhere you get your podcast. Just look for Epic Realms Podcast. Of course, on Twitch, you can watch it live a day early and even ask your own questions. So come and join us. Again, twitch.tv/epic_realms. Search on anywhere you get your podcasts to download the podcast episodes. As for this, there will be more, I promise. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and learning about some of these cocktail tools. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about what a Julienne strainer, a Julie Tots, I don't know, Julienne, I think it's a Julienne strain. If you want to talk about that, go down in the comments, mention about it before, put it in the chat, whatever you want. Thank you all so much, and thank you for hanging out with me right here on Epic Realms Does Cocktails. Have a good night, everyone.